I wish I could grow hair like yours.
Well, yeah, but it's fine.
I
You're
mean, you don't
looking.
understand how lucky you are.
You're a fine looking guy,
Thank you.
Lawrence.
I
By the way,
appreciate it.
we're live already.
That's great. Keep on talking about how fine looking I am. No,
How are you
I
doing, Lawrence?
I'm all right. I'm doing well. Yeah, as we were saying just off air, I got my first vaccine appointment for about just over 2 weeks from now. So hopefully by the end of July, I'll be fully vaccinated, and then I can get traveling again and play some chess
Put
tournaments. Who
some
knows?
chess moves in.
Yeah.
Exactly. At least, I mean, you're still able to do this now, but with much more comfort. I wonder how this is working actually, because I didn't think of it talking about it. Once you're vaccinated, you do not need a mask? Question
No,
mark.
you probably still need a mask
Hmm.
because yeah, I think if you're vaccinated, you can still carry the disease
That's what
and
I understood
pass
too.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the mask thing is staying for quite a while longer. I think it's just that you can show your vaccine passport and travel a lot easier, basically. But you're still
Fair
gonna have to
enough.
wear a mask. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Anyway, playing overboard that is already started this year with some hybrid tournaments. We probably will take a look at that.
Hmm.
There are actually three very interesting tournaments running. We definitely will check them out right now. And we also have something else which is interesting in the chess news.
Hmm.
And I am going to share this right away. I will just start with the news today. We have this here Fritz Chester chessboard editions. Have you heard about Fritz
No,
and
I didn't. I
Chester?
didn't read this article, so enlighten me. I'm curious.
It's pretty straightforward. So Fritz and Chester, that probably rings a bell. It's
Yes,
the program which is made for especially
children.
for kids and children.
Hmm. Hmm.
And yeah, the funny part is like I have two brothers. They're 14 and 12 years old. So
Oh, right, quite a lot younger then. Okay.
indeed, and as with so many young children in the same age or even younger, as I can hear it from friends and other parents, for example, they grow up in a completely different world where it is hard for us at the age of let's. How old are you? You're a bit younger than me.
35.
Yeah, yeah, much younger. Damn. That's frustrating. Anyway, so but we grew up where yes, we had a certain kind of technology at one point. So I grew up with a Nintendo NES system in my arm, and I love pixel art till the day till now, just also for nostalgic reasons. And I was very much into the internet too because I also grew up with it. But people who are like 20 years younger than us, that's the whole that's what
Right.
they experience
Right.
first.
Hmm.
It's and it must be very 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 difficult for them, and probably so that's what I hear, that a lot of parents agree with that. So at least from my family part, it is just they have a beautiful outside area, they have a trampoline, they have the chance to play football. They have a lovely place outside to go into nature and just play. They have Legos, you know, the normal things,
Sure.
chess,
Hmm.
a chessboard.
Hmm.
But getting them away from a digital product, which is
Tough.
so freaking addictive, is
Yeah.
just, and especially when you grow up as a child, you get all the sensations of the digital age right
Right.
into your brain.
You do. Yeah. Hmm.
It's it's difficult, no doubt, and yeah, people handle this in different kinds of ways. But of course, there is like a nice attempt with Fritz and Chester. So chess genuinely is something which you can also get very addicted to,
Sure.
but it still has this message of being something valuable if you use it correctly for advancing your brain, thinking ahead, having plans, thinking of patterns and stuff like this. So it has, and people argue about this, but I'm pretty sure it has more benefits than a lot of other things which are stimulating you equally. So Fritz and Chester is the online version for kids to learn chess. And the partners have made a Kickstarter project. And they provide the physical board for the chess app. And they have them in different forms, like for traveling and like this. And it's just like, because there's a huge fan site around Fritz and Chester. So they're just very, very popular and people love them. And this is why it's after 20 years, it's still going and running up very, very high. Where is the Kickstarter link? There it is. So if I just click on this quickly. So yeah, so there's this chessboard, and well, look what I have for us here. Ta-da! This is the physical version.
You have the, wow.
I have the physical version here. Yeah, and
wow.
I just wanted to quickly show it to you.
Yeah, show us.
So it is
nice.
It's something. There's a lot of things which, first of all, the art is just cute. So you either like it or you don't like it. So I definitely like it. It's
cute.
Very charming, absolutely.
Yeah, it's charming.
So you have the chessboard with either the color you prefer, kind of. So it's a bit yellow and a bit beige. And of course, the clue about all of this are the chess pieces, which look a little bit like this. I'm holding this into the camera. Well, actually, I will just unshare quickly, and so you can see it a little bit better.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, beautiful.
It's very cute. It's all sustainable. That's an important thing always, in my opinion. And you can just take them out here and just. I personally want to eat them, and they also like they look like marshmallows. But well, yeah, you just put them on the chessboard. Don't eat them. No,
I've been there, done that.
Exactly,
it's no good.
It doesn't help. No. Capturing is better. Yeah, it's just really cute, and it's something where I think you can get a little bit more excited as a child to try out something like this. If you're a fan of this project anyway, then this is a very, very nice present, in my opinion. So yeah, and that's kind of also the whole story about it. It is something where it might be a bit easier to get children into the chess activity, because it's a struggle if there's so many entertaining computer games and so many things which you just don't want to play chess. And my brothers, they're always excited when I'm there, so they want to play chess with me. If I say, hey, how about we play a game of chess? Absolutely, whatever, right? So but yeah, it's a nice addition. It's something nice to physical little support for something which is beloved by a lot of parents and a lot of children. Yeah, that's that story. I think it's a nice thing, and it looks very cute.
Absolutely. Yep. Agreed. Do you have any children family-wise from? Well, it's funny you say that. My brother is going to be a dad in a few months, so I'm going to be an uncle for the first time. He's my younger brother as well, so he's having a kid. My brother-in-law had a kid this year as well. So my family, we've got a very small family, but with a few babies have appeared, which is good. So, and we're all chess players. My brother is a 2100. My stepbrother is around 1900 players. So chess will be an integral part of,
it is a family thing. Yeah.
Yes.
It normally carries on. If there's a chess enthusiast in the family, normally it establishes itself in the younger parts too. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, looking forward to that. So when do you have a date when it's happening?
Well, October is the due date. So of course he's going to be too young to play chess, straight up, but I'll be buying lots of kids chess related stuff in the next few years for sure.
October, by the way, the very, very best month to get a child.
Is it?
Just
Is that
saying.
when you're born?
Oh yeah, of course.
What's your birthday?
12th of October.
12th. Okay, my dad was the 24th. Interestingly,
24th.
so it's a month in our family, big month. So.
Nice one.
Yes, indeed, indeed. Cool, great.
Lawrence, what do you have set up for us?
Well, the second, I mean, we haven't actually. If you looked at, we haven't got that much going on this week in the news items.
No.
If you scroll down, you can see that actually we covered. If you actually scroll there, yeah, we. Are you on the D?
That's
us. That's us, right? Yeah. So basically, no. What I wanted to talk about was actually what's going on in Gibraltar, the Women's Grand Prix. Now, there isn't a full news report on that, or the latest news report, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about the tournament. So the idea of this is to get into the candidates. So the women's game has got something similar in order to get into the candidates to then play for the World Championship finals. This is the Grand Prix, and this is again the men and they have a Grand Prix series, and the women's Grand Prix series is they're trying to do a similar model, and it's a very strong tournament over in Gibraltar. Now, I was actually originally going to commentate live in Gibraltar. I'm very good friends with Stuart Conquest and with Brian Callahan and the whole team. Gibraltar is easily my favorite tournament of the year.
Yes, you mentioned.
I've been to Gibraltar. My first tournament in Gibraltar was in 2009. I've been dozens of times, not just for chess, but for work as well. So I know the place very well. It's very close to my heart. And I was really excited about commentating. Unfortunately, the corona situation made it very, very difficult, and I decided to basically not do it. But I will be back. Nevertheless, what's really important about this tournament is the fact that Gibraltar continues to make its claim for being the home of women's chess globally. There is no place in the world that has done more for women's chess, in my opinion, than Gibraltar. You've got this Grand Prix now, which is, of course, a FIDE Grand Prix sanctioned by FIDE. You've got the main Gibraltar Open, which has got an enormous prize fund for women. In fact, there is the highest percentage of women or ratio women versus men in any tournament in the world, with so many strong female players right the way to the top, often participating. Often there are prizes of £20,000 plus for the top women player. It's really pushes the game, and it adds a really beautiful dynamic to the tournament. There are lots of side events, and just trying to encourage young girls and professionals to play, because you get very young girls playing, but also the top female pros. Many of them you can see in this list here. So I can tell you straight up that the Muzicuk sisters, Lachno, Abdumalik, Peetz, Zagnitze, they've all been to Gibraltar. Gunina goes every year. Antonetta Stefanova has been in Gibraltar for like 15 years consistently. So they all know the place well. They all love it there. They all love the Caleta, which is the hotel where it's being played. Of course, this tournament is a bit different because they're only playing against each other. But nevertheless, again, the point is that Gibraltar really is doing everything in its power to promote women's chess. As things stand, it's Muzicuk and Abdumalik leading the way on 4.5 points. Should be noted that Janshai Abdumalik, who has impressed me for years, by the way. She's rated 2472. She's an extremely bright young woman. She's actually even involved in things like politics in her home country of Kazakhstan. She does amazing work. She's a fantastic ambassador for chess. She isn't yet a grandmaster, as far as I understand. I think she's probably got a couple of norms. She's rated 2472. She's currently performing at a rating of 2669. So if she manages to, she's on +3. I think probably +3 is a score that will net you the norm in this tournament. So she needs to just hold the line here, and she could get a Grandmaster norm and actually a bunch of rating points as well. Although I think she's been over 2,500, so I don't think that's the big point.
Yeah.
But it would be great to see her do well. Unfortunately, her compatriot, Dinara Sadwa-Kosova, is having a very, very tough time. On -4.
What happened there?
She started off with 3 losses.
That's tough.
Which is really tough. She drew against Kashlinskaya, she drew against Lachno, but she's actually lost all her black games.
Yeah.
So she's having a disastrous tournament.
And the draw was also made like fairly quickly, so it just feels like something is
probably off. Yeah, exactly. And these things can happen. And of course, playing in Corona times, the good news is that my understanding is because they're all in the hotel, they're basically not leaving the hotel. So they've formed a bubble, which means they don't have to wear masks and all of this stuff. They don't leave the hotel. They've got, and they can play in normal conditions in inverted commas. So that's going on. You can watch all the action, of course, on Play Chess, and the whole point is that you want to get a spot into the candidates by doing well in the Grand Prix series, and you can see actually the standings of the Grand Prix series there, where Humpy,
Humpy Canaro is already through. Yeah,
she's basically through. Kostenyuk has got a great chance. Stagnidze is there, etc., etc. So
what about, is there anything, because I'm to be honest, I'm not 100% sure when it has been decided. Is this the last tournament now in Gibraltar, or is there another tournament coming?
No, this is just a Grand Prix. After this finishes, the tournament is over. I don't know if there's another Grand Prix. I don't know if there's another Grand Prix. I think there is actually. Women's Grand Prix. I think there is actually maybe a few.
So then it might be the one in Sardinia, actually, because I wasn't sure if I could. But that just means that those 2 players won't be attending in Sardinia, for example.
I think so, because I think Lausanne already happened. I think Lausanne is actually, I beg your pardon, Lausanne is actually happening March 1st to the 14th. Wow. So that's already happened.
No, that
I beg your pardon. That's already happened. I think Gibraltar actually might be the last leg. Actually, I think this is the last tournament.
Anyway,
in the series. Yeah.
Yes, it is. I also wanted to talk about it too. That I didn't know about, that it is like the women's chess event. That is very interesting, and that players like Stefanova have been there for 15 years consecutive.
Well, I mean, that's just a guess, but I think she's been there
for ages.
Every year for ages.
That's super cool. That's very nice. I just also know from Gibraltar, chess-wise, there are some similarities to Malta, since it is also this little casino paradise, and they have their own laws about it. And I know that Matthias Wals is living there. German GM.
I've met him there, actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Funny.
I've met Matthias. He's more in the poker side now, if I remember.
Exactly. Yes. Let's take a look at a game with Elisabeth Peetz, because she's obviously my coach on the German news site. Every Monday she's teaching me and, of course, everybody who's viewing a lot of beautiful chess moves. It's called Ellie's Schatztruhe, Ellie's treasure chest. And it's very, very, very interesting, and people appreciate this highly. So yeah, she's doing quite well. People were actually thinking like, well, she's not. It's not her. She didn't do that well she didn't get the first place in the German qualifier, for example. So people were like skeptical and like, nah, she will just. I mean, these are so strong. There's so many strong players there. So with her rating of 2,450, she probably won't do that well. But apparently she's doing pretty well. She's actually won 3 games already. This is
Yeah,
very
she's won
impressive.
3 games. I think she got very lucky against Kashlinskaya.
Yes, true. Yeah, that
I think
turned
she
it
was
around.
completely losing. Yeah, but yeah,
And then
sure.
on the other hand, that didn't happen in the game against Gunina, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So it was just this is just, I mean, from
yeah.
the
This
start,
opening is super weird. I
right?
mean,
I mean, yeah, you can take back, and yeah, I've seen this a couple of times. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, this isn't. I mean, this is of course not that much for white, but it's the claim is that. Yeah, I mean, black also this pawn on c6 looks a bit silly, so I don't know. But and Gunina also, you've got to think about the player. So who is Gunina, right?
True.
Valentina the assassin. Okay, Valentina Gunina. I mean, she is one of the most fearsome, attacking, tactical, brilliant players
Huh.
that you'll ever meet, basically.
Oh, okay.
So I've played Valentina in Blitz, and
You
I've
did?
never been. Yeah, she destroys me.
For real?
Uh, yeah, she's a brilliant tactician. I mean, she's brilliant in. Of course, she's not just a tactician.
Sure.
That would be. She's a grandmaster. She can play any position, but she certainly prefers slightly more ambitious positions. So this was, I think, a strategic decision by Elise saying, okay, I think Valentina doesn't perform as well in queenless middle games, basically.
Interesting. Yeah.
So that justifies the decision.
And yeah, C4 is also part of that makes it interesting again in some way. So I think Elizabeth, yeah, tried to get into a position where you're out of book very quickly, maybe, or like just swapping a lot of pieces. That didn't happen. Gunina didn't want to have that. I'm just pushing a bit forward. So yeah, we have this pawn structure here. This is the moment I would always go for f3 too, but it is considered that queen to e2 gives you a bit more chances here for white, and that might have been the first little maybe not too precisely played move with the queen going to f3, but nonetheless, let's get there. Yeah, queen is pushing forward, and just in the middle of that, the queen is getting attacked on f3. So this is a nice counter move for that immediately. The queens are getting swapped off, and at one point the position gets very interesting because there will be this absolutely stunning, in my opinion, and I
haven't seen it, so I'm waiting for it. I haven't seen it.
Nice. I saw it live because it was the last game they played for a long time. All the other games were done already, and they still kept on playing. So I was, of course, I was voting for my coach Elisabeth, but I have to say that Gunina made the very beautiful sacrifice here.
Oh right, she sacrificed the exchange.
It's nice. It makes sense. It's those pawns. Yeah, they can be some powerful, have some powerful times maybe, and that helps a lot for black. So now there's the bishop pair, and white now has to be very defensive, and that's of course probably not what Elisabeth wanted to have. As you already mentioned, since Gunina is an attacker, that's exactly the position that black feels very comfy with. Computer says it's quite equal, but I couldn't. I was thinking about it too. Nigel Short is and Fiona Style are commenting on YouTube Live, so they also couldn't really find the computer moves because they're just so difficult. It's a very, very difficult position. And at one point, white's king moves over to the very, very, very far away A line. And then out of a sudden, some threats are coming up because, there's always this little bit of a mate threat. So this was probably not the best move for black, but white took the advantage playing g4 here, trying to attack the bishop and getting this very strong pawn structure out of the way in the middle. But black didn't allow this, and that move here, rook to c3, was also not so helpful because d4 is too big of a threat at one point. So rook to c1 should have happened immediately.
Yeah, but that move is insanely difficult to find.
Absolutely. Now, here's the point. Elizabeth played it now. And this is the thing. This is what separates really, really good players from good players, let's say, or players with a title. Mm-hmm. Because to make this move, evaluate, think about it, and not go like, okay, I'm sticking to it because I moved this already, but taking this move down now because it is actually the better move. It's very, very difficult for a lot of amateur or club players. I wouldn't. I know my situation to just think about it. If I would have made this move, I would go like, okay, now I have to deal with that. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't go like, okay, I have to go back with this in many, many cases.
Yeah.
Now it's getting very difficult. Look at this position. It's so awkward, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there's a little last secret help for white, which is pushing down the a pawn. At one point, if you give your quality back, maybe this a pawn can become a bit stronger, and you have to deal with it at one point. Because if something like d3 happens, then the rook just takes. Mm-hmm. But the king moves to d4, and there goes this pawn, and now we have some swapping business going on.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
That's a very nice move too. And I have to also mention that Elizabeth Licia only had like minute left for the last 5 to 6 moves. So there's an increment of 30 seconds, I think, but it's always going down to the last 10 seconds for any move she has made. And that is the last, this is so difficult to find rook to g1 here, for example, if you only have 30 seconds left. So, that is actually now business is going down, unfortunately. There are too many mate threats. This is a good defense. And this is the last hope for white, maybe.
Oh, I see. Rook b6.
Rook b6 is an option. I think black could have taken and would have been in a better position, but the king moved up. That is also still possible. And now the rook is has this nice plan to go on the other side of the board.
Well, bishop b4 is mate. So
for
there's
example,
mate in one.
Yeah, also that. So, and that again, it's too far. Mm-hmm. It's too far. D2 would have been a bit better to give this nice check on the other hand. Mm-hmm. But here, the idea is to go to give a check on G2. But of course, this is blocking that. It's so evil. So I didn't see that either, of course.
So you have to go rook a1?
Yeah, exactly. Rook a1, last chance. Bishop goes up there to plan this nasty bishop to f4. And this is not working. Black doesn't have to take, of course. Mm-hmm. So now it all falls apart, unfortunately. It's too late. The mate
bishop b5, that's a nice move.
It's very beautiful, So nothing possible here
checks.
Anymore.
Yeah.
Except rook to c1 maybe to delay it one more move. Yeah, that was that game in a quick little run.
Wow.
Very impressive.
She's tricky, huh? Valentina, she's a tricky customer.
Absolutely, very, very sneaky. Yeah, nice thing. The women's what is it called? Women's
Grand Prix.
Grand Prix was the name. Thank you. Yeah. That is that. And now we have the Crypto Cup.
Yeah.
Let's I didn't follow it that much, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, well, I can update you quickly if you're interested. So I mean, yesterday was the big match somehow. Carlsen Nakamura, or rather the second match, and basically Magnus put on a show and was exceptional, and He got off to actually quite a bad start in the match, but he came back very strong. And the way he beat Hikaru in the final 2 games was just insane. I mean, it was.
Did you comment in your
No,
show?
I didn't commentate. No,
Okay.
I didn't commentate, but I just saw it briefly.
Mm-hmm.
So Magnus is through to the
Semifinals, and he's gonna face Timur Radjabov,
and he's gonna face Radjabov,
who won against Anish Giri, and that is an accomplishment in this time of year, or in these couple of months, where Anish is considered one of the best players in the world at the moment with his form, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was really good for Timur to win, to beat Anish, and Wesley So beat
Maxime
MBL, and will face Nepo.
And that I remember, Fabiano won the qualifier to the quarterfinals, like very well. So that was also a little bit of a surprise for me that Nepomniachtchi won that one. So it would be so funny, right? And people think about it, of course, too. There is a chance that Nepomniachtchi will face Magnus Carlsen in the final.
Well, that's what everybody's kind of almost hoping for, right? Is yes. that there's some kind of final between these two, just as a preview for the World Championships, right?
How would you feel about that in the skin of Magnus and in the skin of Nepomniachtchi, when you have those? I know it from football, where it's always a little bit awkward when you have the league games against each other, and then like 4 days later you have the cup game against the same team, and you just won like 4-0 in the league.
Yeah,
and then it's a completely new game.
That actually happened recently with my team Chelsea. So we played Leicester in the league and in the FA Cup, and actually we played Man City as well, and we're playing. It's the Champions League final tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's Chelsea Man City.
Where are you going to watch it?
I'm going to watch it at home. They moved it to Porto.
Yes.
It was originally going to be in Istanbul.
Yes. That I didn't know that they moved it to Porto.
Yeah, they moved it to Porto. I guess it's because you can get fans there or something, because in Turkey you just couldn't have any fans. So they moved it. Of course, it would make sense to have it actually in the UK, but for whatever reason, why not have it in the UK? It's 2 English teams, right?
Would have made a bit more sense.
It would have made a lot more sense, and you would have been able to get at least a lot of fans, because most of the people in the UK have been vaccinated. Of course.
Yeah, that's true. But in which stadium? To not offend
probably in Wembley, but the problem is, does it clash? Is Tottenham playing, or maybe there just wasn't a free spot. I don't know the logistics of it.
Wembley is in London, isn't it?
Or yes, West London.
Yeah, so Chelsea is also in London, right?
Yeah, but you can't have it at the home stadium of Chelsea.
That's what I meant. So this is probably they thought about this, and then they go like, well, okay, we cannot have this in the same city, maybe, or something.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't want to.
You need it in a neutral location, basically.
Exactly. Sorry about the guys for our little step into the football world.
Well, no, we're just making the analogy. But anyway,
exactly. Yes, and it happens because you play against each other. Now, then, let's say Nepomniachtchi wins the finals, if it would happen, or Magnus wins the finals.
Yes.
Is this the boost you would need to get into the real juice in November?
No, is my answer to that.
Wow. Okay.
It's I think if Nepo wins, it won't. Look, Magnus is the most competitive person I've ever met. So he hates losing, and losing will bother him because he likes to win. But it's not. He's extremely resilient mentally, and he'll bounce back. If he does lose to Nepo, he'll be like, okay, I lost to him in a rapid event. Let's just make sure that in the main event that it doesn't happen. Yeah. And if Nepo wins, he'll be like, yeah, sure, this is a great victory. But he also won't get too overconfident, because he understands that the World Championship is a completely different animal. There are lots of games, different kinds of preparation. So if
Oh.
they do meet in the final, which is still, of course, not even it's not even
No, Wesley and
confirmed.
Timur, all of them are just
Yeah, exactly.
everybody
So
could do it. Yeah.
anybody could do it. So it's just not the moment to to basically get overexcited,
Hmm.
regardless of the result. But of
Interesting.
course, you'd like to win it because there's a lot of money up for grabs as well. Hey, look,
Yeah.
they're still professional players, and even though Magnus doesn't need the money, and Nepo is certainly not struggling, but I think Magnus, having an extra tens of
Mhm.
thousands certainly is more valuable for Nepo, for example. So there is a financial incentive as well.
It's interesting what you're saying because I would think that if there would be a final of Nebojnaci against Carlsen, which might not even be the only final because there's still a couple of more events until November coming up and
Yeah,
with the same
exactly.
players. But if there is a final and you would win this, that I personally, so I can just talk from my
Hmm.
point of view, I that would give me a huge boost. And on the other hand, if I would lose, I would go like, okay, of course, I would have to get back on track and go like, well, that was just a rapid event. But then if I would win, I would go like, that's it. That's the spirit. This is interesting. This is good. This is powerful. This is giving me a big advantage for the final. And I'm talking about this right now because I just started reading a super interesting book by Daniel Kahneman.
I don't know it.
Oh, he made the book Fast and Slow Thinking, pretty famous bestseller.
Okay. Hmm.
And he and a couple of other people I didn't know and I forgot their names. They just brought out the book called Noise, so which is about how strong every person is either biased, which is one thing, but also has a kind of noise in between. And talking about football again, so they're talking about judges, and if their favorite team, may it be Chelsea, wins
Hmm.
the finals and they have the next judgmental decision to make on a Monday, they will
Hmm.
probably give 30 days instead of 5 years. That's the conclusion about this. And I believe that a lot
Okay.
of people maybe have an unconscious feeling which is very difficult to even get behind or
Hmm.
understand.
Hmm.
And I believe that a victory or something which boosts your confidence or something, I think that that is a part of moving forward in the final game. Of course, it can also backfire and can be
Sure.
overconfidence or stuff like that. But in most cases, I think it might be something where you go like, yeah, yeah, that's it. I can beat him, and I can beat him like that, and this maybe. Interesting. We will
Got it.
see. We will
Got
see.
it.
First of all, this final has to happen. Yeah. Is
Yeah,
there
exactly.
is
Hmm.
there any interesting game maybe which is there's I mean the games between,
Mm.
as you already said, Magnus and
Yeah, I
Hikaru were
mean the Magnus and Hikaru. I mean
all
the way
decisive
Magnus
almost.
sort of beat Hikaru with the black pieces in the
Yeah.
final game was extremely incredible. Actually, it was a destruction. If you can bring that up,
let me
I
try.
mean,
Let me try to
yeah. See
find.
if you can find that.
Is the
Yeah, this one here. I
is it?
mean, yeah,
Oh,
this one here. This is it.
oh gosh, yeah. I
I
cannot even.
mean, if you go from the start, we'll
Oh
go through it
god.
super quick.
Okay. Yes.
So it was a standard sort of Berlin, anti-Berlin,
They play
Swiss
it often.
E3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so something, fairly standard, nothing too much to see here. Keep on going. Very standard, very standard. White got in D5. The position is still in standard. But then, so just Hikaru made this slightly odd queen maneuver with the
Yeah.
queen to F1, which already is a little bit on the passive side. And then very quickly, Magnus just took the initiative here. Queen c7 takes. Now he's got a marvelous position and d4. So this move on one hand makes a lot of sense to block this bishop. But after e4, now where do you go? You have to put the knight on a really stupid square on
Yeah.
h2. The knight on h2 is actually quite a common square in a lot of Ruy Lopez's, but not now, because normally you can bring it to g4. And the point is that even though the move d4 closes the g1 to a7 diagonal, the b8 to h2 diagonal is very alive. And Carlsen just puts the bishop there. And you start to realize, hold on a second, as white, after bishop to b8, is my position just like completely losing with white?
Oh,
I
no.
mean, is he just threatening some moves like knight to h5 here, for example, and queen takes h2 mate?
Brutal. That
And
is a
this,
move you don't. Yeah, of course, it's on the head, but I didn't think about this.
yeah, or even just to something as simple as h5, h4, and then you would have to go knight h1. I mean, your pieces are so ridiculous here as white. And Hikaru must just be thinking to himself, what actually has happened
What
in this
happened
game?
here?
I had a normal Ruy Lopez position, and then all of a sudden, am I just losing? So he goes queen e2, which is probably the only
Yeah,
move.
to get the knight to f1 again,
F1,
right?
but now black can go knight f4, forcing bishop takes f4, queen takes f4. So now black has got just enormous, knight f1. Now queen g5 is perfectly reasonable, king h1. And now Magnus just plays very logically, plays bishop d6, connecting the rooks. And white tries queen d2. Of course, Magnus doesn't exchange queens. Bishop f4, queen c2. Now he brings the rook into c8. Why not? The knight now goes to e2. Bishop goes back all the way home. Now he's not blocking the rook. Okay, queen to d2, and now the h4 square is so. And if we just stop here, you just realize, oh, bishop takes h3 is coming, and there's nothing you can really do to stop this mate. So king g1 was tried, and Magnus said, you know what, I don't even need to take on h3 now. I'm just going to improve my position more. I'll play the move knight h5, depriving white of more squares. And what is this bishop on b3 doing? Absolutely nothing. The rooks are doing nothing. This massive space advantage for black is just huge.
My
a4,
gosh.
and now black decided, you know what, let's have some real fun. f5. Let's just like put this
Yeah,
pawn f4.
who cares about those pawns on that side?
Well, I mean, they can't even be attacked. After
Yeah.
a takes b5, you just take back. There's no need to rush. White has got absolutely no counterplay. He tried rook a1, finally trying to get some activity, but f4, the rook comes to a6,
gosh.
and now just rook c to d8, because there was one trick here. If we go back, just got to be a little bit careful that white doesn't play the move rook takes e6. This was the little tactic.
Okay,
It's
so
black to move. So let's just say a random move like, not the king move, because that actually helps, but let's say, yeah, queen, even that helps. It's difficult to find a help move that doesn't help,
Yeah,
actually. Let's just say b4, for example. Okay, something stupid.
Okay.
Now you rook takes e6, and rook takes e6, bishop takes d5. And if white were to get this, suddenly the tables would turn, because he would suddenly
I getcha.
you know. So,
okay.
So Magnus just played rook c8. Now he protects the d5 pawn, and after f3, you now go e3. The queen has to protect the rook on e1 with queen to d1, and now finally he plays the move bishop takes h3. The point now is that after g takes h3, which didn't happen in the game,
Yeah, sorry.
if you play g takes h3, it's not to take on h3, but rather to play queen f2 check. Now you can come to f2. The f2 square is king h1. Then you can take on f3 check. You just take on f3. King h2. Now you can go back queen f2 check. King h1. And now, for example, just f3 is, I mean, have you seen a more depressing position in your life? Queen g2 is now threatening mate. Knight takes e3 runs into queen h2 mate, and it's just mate. It's just forced mate. And if you're Hikaru Nakamura, you don't get beaten like this very often. It's very humiliating to lose like this.
Very.
So Hikaru
brutal.
tried rook g6 on move 36, but now Magnus just played the very natural bishop back to f5. Just hit that rook, and on bishop c2, he didn't even take this rook. He just took the bishop, because Hikaru forgot that the queen is overloaded, and on queen takes c2, queen takes e1 is the end of the game. I mean, that is such a massive beating that it's shocking to me how badly Hikaru got crushed. And you know, Carlsen is through, and Hikaru just he just can't seem to beat Magnus at the moment. So
Wow.
that would have given Magnus a huge amount of pleasure to play like that.
Thanks. Super
Yeah.
interesting. Nice analysis. I really enjoy every time when you're doing some analysis, Lawrence. It's always very, very interesting.
I enjoy it.
You should have your own show. Haha, talking of which, the weekly show. There it is. You are talking about some young talents, about Abi Manu's victory,
Yes.
and even
Oh, by the way,
yeah,
just to because we spoke about him last week, didn't
exactly.
we? Or did we not?
We did.
Yeah, we did, and I did in my show. So, basically, what I found out was that he only needs 8 points, and I think he becomes a grandmaster. 8 points and 1 grandmaster norm. I think that's it. So actually, he might even have all the grandmaster norms. I beg your pardon. I can't even recall. But basically, he's extremely close.
Yeah.
And he needs to do it before September the 1st, I think. So he's got May, June, July, August. Like he is going to be the youngest grandmaster in history. It's just no question.
Scary.
He just needs to have a tournament where he doesn't blow up. But if he plays just solidly and he's playing all of these tournaments in Hungary, so there are a bunch of back-to-back-to-back GM tournaments, and he's just going to do it. It's just no question. Very, very, very exciting young player. So yeah.
Indeed. Lawrence, we've been talking for such a long time already.
Yes.
Time was flying because it was very enjoyable. Let me quickly give you one little advertisement for your own DVD, my favorite of all your DVDs.
Yes.
The Albans Counter Gambit. But of course, you've made loads of other Fritz trainers, luckily. Guys, get Lawrence Fritz Trainer DVDs. It's a joy to have this guy analyze and talking, of course. And if you like this dude just as much as I do, you should already have all the Fritz Trainers in your bookshelf.
Go and buy them all.
I played Albin's Counter Gambit against Irina Krush yesterday evening because I had a rapid interview with her. And Irina is a very good player. I mean, no doubt. But it was a super interesting game. It was super fun. And so the Albans Counter Gambit, of course, she was engaging with it. So she could have played very passively and things would have gone in a certain way. But she was like, let's have fun. It's part of this interview. And so it was super interesting. Hopefully the article is ready next week. I would say take a look at it, and I will, of course, feature your DVD there, too.
Brilliant.
Yeah, Lawrence. So I wish you a lovely, nice weekend. The sun should shine. That's what I heard.
Well, really?
At least in Hamburg.
It's not been shining here for a long time. But yeah, hopefully tomorrow we get
a
sunnier day. That would be nice.
Everybody else, thank you very much for joining us again. And I wish all of you a lovely weekend. We see each other next week.
All right.
Bye.
See you next week. Cheers, guys. Bye.